Good morning, everybody. Can all of you hear me? Great, great. All right. So first of all, thanks for every single one of you to take out your time in the busy weekday for our dialogue. So basically, we will start at, it might take around 2.5 hours to 3 hours at the most. So we'll keep it brief. In the meanwhile, I would request all of you to turn off your audio, mute yourself, and keep your videos open. It's left to you. We understand that if you want to turn off your camera, we completely understand and we respect that. So with that, there's a quick activity. There'll be a link dropped in the chat window. It's basically to find out where every single one of us are from. So if you can open your chat window, there is a link for menti.com. So all of you can please click on the menti.com. It will take you to a web page where you can, it asks for you to type in a couple of codes. The code is 7362280. I'll repeat, the code is 7362280. As soon as you log in that code, you should be able to see our map. And then you can just pick the location where you are from. So you can just say where you're born, which is your birthplace. You can just drop there. So this is just to understand the diversity of where people are from.
Sir, one more time that password, sir.
Okay. So I would request all of you to go to menti.com. The link is in the chat window. www.menti.com. Once you're in the website, it'll ask for a code. The code is 7362280.
Recording in progress.
So we have a lot of people piling in from south of Karnataka, mostly I think Bangalore. We have a lot of people from Bangalore. We have a couple of couples from Sri Lanka. Great. So we'll give another minute to see everybody's on the map. You can just click on the link. It will direct you to one of the web pages, and then you can use the code. The code is 7362280. All right. So if that is done, you can go to the next slide. There'll be a next question which keeps popping up. The question is, what role would youth play in building a resilient food system? So you can type in a short answer. It could be anything. As soon as you enter your information here, it will be popped up on the screen. Yes, we are getting in inputs. A person is saying capacity building. Youth play an important role in building capacity, improving and leading innovation food systems for solutions, creating awareness, composting foodscapes from home. That's great. Leadership, yes, youths are the leaders of the nation. If the youth is empowered, everything will fall in place. Also creating awareness is one of the key roles of the youth. Creative ideas, yes. Promoting traditional food practices. So all the inputs what we are getting, they are in line with what we need to have a climate resilient food system. All right, great. Okay, so with that, I would like to quickly introduce our first speaker for the day. The first speaker is from Sri Lanka, Madam Vasita Vaidyanayake. She is currently working as the Executive Director of SLYCAN Trust, a non-profit organization based out of Sri Lanka, currently focusing on climate change, sustainable development, biodiversity, and ecosystem conservation and social justice. She is an international lawyer specializing in public international law and has over a decade of experience in working on climate change at both international and national level. Vasita is also a member for the National Expert Committee on Climate Change Adaptation of the Ministry of Environment of Sri Lanka, and is also a member of Sri Lankan delegation to the UNFCCC negotiations since 2016. She's been negotiating on the issues related to compliance, climate change adaptation, laws and damage, gender, responsive measures, and action for climate empowerment. With this, I would like to open the floor to Madam Vasita. Madam Vasita, the floor is yours.
Good morning, Hemanth. Thank you very much. I didn't know you had that long introduction, which I would have stopped if I knew in advance. Okay, thank you very much. So I am Vasita Vijayanayaka, and I work as the Executive Director of SLYCAN Trust. And we are organizing this event with Hemanth as a partner in the Global Youth Forum on Climate Change. A bit on what SLYCAN Trust is, for those who are not familiar with us. SLYCAN Trust is a nonprofit think tank, and we focus on issues related to climate change, sustainable development, ecosystem and biodiversity conservation, social justice, and animal welfare. And youth, we focus on youth as a key stakeholder in our activities across all the work that we do. So we have capacity building, research awareness, creation, as well as outreach activities. We always have youth as part of the process, and we also engage them in planning the work as well as implementation of it. This event today, which we are partnering in, is organized as part of the UN Food Systems Summit, independent dialogues under it, and also as part of the Global Youth Forum on Climate Change. And this is something that SLYCAN Trust has been part of or initiated, and it has been expanding since its inception. So we started this in 2016, and today it's become a global forum that has over 70 countries participating in it. And a notice on it, we'll be having the 2021 call for the summit happening towards the end of this month. So anyone who's interested, do stay tuned and apply for this. So going back to what we plan to do with the discussion series, this has been launched to engage inputs of different stakeholders, especially youth, in food systems dialogues, and also finding solutions that youth find that they could be part of or lead, so that there be climate-friendly, sustainable, and also inclusive processes in the food systems. And we have had dialogues across the world. We have had recently one in Kenya with the informal settings, youth sharing their key issues that they face, access to food, as well as affordability, and other things connecting to resilience and climate action. And then we've had other dialogues in Sri Lanka, which has fed into the country report that will be submitted. So other places also where we have Global Youth Forum members. So looking at what we are doing today, I would request everyone to be open and also to share your concerns and also innovative solutions on how to address sustainable, ethical foods, and also how youth and everyone, the key stakeholders, including public as well as civil society, think tanks, and especially government and policymakers, could get involved in a collective way to find solutions that could be implemented in a participatory manner, engaging all these stakeholders. So I wish everyone all the best, and I'm very grateful for whoever has joined today, all of you who are here, and also the keynote speakers and the resource persons who are joining as well. And thank you, Hemanth, for being part of this process. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vasita, for setting the base and giving us what we are currently doing and what eventually will happen out of this particular dialogue. So with this, I would like to introduce our the key speaker, Madam Vani Murthy. She doesn't need any introduction. All of you know her, but just for the formality, I'll just brief who she is. So she is basically a founding member of Bangalore's Solid Waste Management Roundtable. So Madam Vani Murthy has been a frontline voice for a greener planet, and a gentle force inspiring tens and thousands of people to segregate their waste, recycle, start composting, and most importantly, understand the two critical R's. She says refuse and reduce, by actively sharing easily doable practices with her own daily life. So you can follow her on Instagram at Wormrani. So you will be delighted to see her post. It includes all the basic day-to-day practices where we can opt for sustainability. So with this, I would welcome Madam Vani Murthy. The floor is yours, Madam. You're on mute, Madam, sorry.
Am I audible now?
Yes, perfectly fine.
Thank you, Hemanth, and a very good morning to all of you. Bangalore weather is amazing. It is a little chill right now and very cloudy, and it's always great to talk to groups of people because I think that communication and sharing practices is so important for us to evolve as better citizens of this planet. As Hemanth said, I am a part of Solid Waste Management Roundtable. It's a group of active citizens, practitioners who came together to help Bangalore achieve a decentralized waste management. And for me, my journey with SWMRT has been over 12 years now. And we have learned how we recognize what waste is and the impact of our waste in the environment, and also moving towards a low waste life, ending up with composting and growing your own food to understand what safe food is, how do we conserve and preserve our natural resources. So it has been an awesome journey of learning constantly, and I continue to learn. For all the youth out there, it is so important for us to do a daily action. And action is the one that is we need to shift gears there to take on, because we are hearing so much about the climate change, the global warming, and all the stuff that's happening around. But if we as individuals don't take that action, we cannot be a part of the solution, because right now there is only problems that are looming large on our planet, and the ecosystem is in jeopardy, and the planet will go on, but what we will destroy is what lets life thrive on this planet. That is essentially the air, the water, and the soil to grow our food. When all the three of them get contaminated, we are very sure that life will become very difficult. It will be a struggle. And along with us, we human beings, we have trapped other species, millions of other species that are so important for our ecosystem and for the survival of the life on this planet. So when I started first, it was about understanding what my waste is doing to the environment. I discharge it in a mixed form. So visiting a landfill, getting to know people around, the people who are already working in the space of waste, and getting together and becoming one voice has been a huge change in the way Bangalore looks at waste. So the landfill is a toxic place. There is so much of pollution happening because your organic waste, which is so essential to build soil, which actually belongs to the soil, is sent out. It travels miles, and then it ends up being dumped at the dump yard. And the methane that comes out because of the anaerobic digestion of this waste, it becomes one of the most polluting things, because methane gets out, and that's a greenhouse gas. There's leachate that enters the soil and the groundwater. There are farmers growing food for the city around these landfills, and life becoming very, very difficult because of the pollution that's happening all around, and it's coming back to us in some form or the other. So for us to critically understand and being aware of our practices, our mindfulness, how do we cut down on all these that are polluting our environment? So a conscious consumption is what we were looking at. How do we reduce the amount of waste that is reaching some destination where it is hurting either the rivers or the lakes or the oceans? It's hurting the environment, it's hurting the ecosystem. And how do we start reducing by awareness? So our primary goal was to create that awareness. So as SWMRT, we came up with different campaigns, right from the segregation, because segregation is so important for managing a city's waste, and every citizen participates in the management of the city's waste. That's how it works. The decentralization of waste management is getting everyone to participate. It is your responsibility because you are the generator. And so my waste is my responsibility became our hashtag. And then 2 bin 1 bag was the segregation that was mandated by the court to the city of Bangalore. And after that, we rolled out the campaign called 2 bin 1 bag, where we got people to start putting stuff into different things so that you can divert it away from the landfill. And then there was 60% that is organic waste that comes out of our kitchens, that getting into the green tub. And in the red waste, the red bucket is for reject waste, and there is the bag for all the recyclables. So getting people to do a waste audit and understand what they are generating, how do I reduce? So the first thing, even before segregation came into place, was about refusing stuff that's become a part of our culture right now. It's that single-use disposables. Anything that you use once and you dispose are the ones that are generating huge amounts of trash, be it a wedding, a conference, or your daily practices when you go out, that you accept anything that is uses resources to be manufactured. It could be a paper cup, it could be a bottled water, it could be the plastic bags, it could be your plastic foam, anything that is used for some time and then you discard it, then that becomes, it makes no sense, because so much of resources being used to manufacture it, energy is being used, then you use it once and you discard it, and it gets out and it gets polluted because it can't be recycled. Most of these single use cannot be recycled. So things like that. So we need to make lifestyle changes by refusing. So wherever you go, equip yourself with stuff that you can refuse. So you can refuse a straw. A straw that could be plastic, it could be paper. Again, all these are single use. If you carry your own reusable straw, a steel straw, which can be cleaned at home and kept neatly, that could make a big difference. And then there are sanitary pads that every month after month women discharge. And these, if you get into sustainable options like the cloth pads or the menstrual cup, that could be so amazing because where does it go? There is no way for all these. It ends up somewhere choking the life on this planet. So carrying your own little steel straw so that you can avoid a paper cup or a plastic cup, saying no to plastic covers, carrying your own cloth bag. And also there is hidden plastic in the form of bags that look like cloth, but they are polypropylene, non-woven. So we need to recognize by being aware of all these and refuse them, carrying a little napkin so that you can refuse a tissue. So stuff like that can be adopted right from your earbuds that come in plastic to bamboo earbuds, which are biodegradable. So looking at next time when you buy a toothbrush, you make sure it is a bamboo one and not a plastic one. So small shifts that can make a big difference in your daily life. So we need to recognize that by being aware. And the best part is, this is the waste, the kitchen organic waste that came out of my home right now in the morning. And this is fantastic resource. This is organic matter that needs to go back to where it belongs. It belongs to the soil. It belongs to building soil. It is the one that keeps the soil a living soil. And when this is missing in the soil, then life in the soil is not there. Instead of putting organic matter back into soil, we are putting chemicals, fertilizers, pesticides, everything that destroys life on the soil. And then what you can grow with converting this into amazing compost. When you make your own compost, you're making living soil. And this compost is the one that we need to add to our soil to grow our food, because the organic matter lets life thrive. Millions of microorganisms, there is earthworms, and there are other living things in the soil that create the nutrients for the plants to absorb, and the plants absorb the nutrients, and then those nutrients that we eat. So we are completing the cycle there itself of dense nutrients in our food that comes from living soil, and that's completely missing. We as human beings, we think we are very evolved and very smart, but we are doing all things that is destroying our nature. What the soil needs goes into a dump yard, getting dumped where it gets trapped, and it is letting methane out in the air. And then what should be careful, what we should not add into the soil. We are putting so much of plastic in the soil. There's all kinds of toxin material. There is pollutants in the soil. That's completely, we are on the opposite direction, and there is never it's never too late for us to turn back. And right now we need to turn around and start looking at our choices. And once you make that amazing black gold, the amazing soil that smells so good, you start growing, your food. You cannot grow all your food, but given the space that you have, probably a small balcony, a little terrace, or maybe there is an empty site next to your house, you start learning to grow your food. And then you understand how tasty and how enriching that food is, that deserves to be put into this body of ours and keeping us healthy, boosting our immunity and every other way. So growing food gives you an understanding of where your food comes from. If you go to the supermarket and pick up the food, you don't know how it's grown, what is sprayed on it. And it is so important for us to make choices right now. The choice to put stuff on our table, which is healthy for our family and which is safe for our family to eat. And that comes from awareness on how your food is grown. So choosing food that is grown in the natural way is the way to go, encouraging more and more farmers to start growing the traditional practices of agriculture, which has been handed over by generations. So going back and visiting our ancestors, our forefathers, will give us what minimalism is, what is conscious consumption. There is zero waste there, and everything that nature intends us to be, the way it be. So for the youth, every action that you take will make a big difference. Always believe that we need to be on the path of sustainability, where we are looking at picking up practices and holding them till the end of life, till the end of our life. That is what is sustainable. It's not a trend. It's not something that people are doing and you want to be a part of it, but you want to continue it for the rest of your life. And that's where you're contributing positively and you're a part of the solution and not the problem itself. And thank you so much for giving me this opportunity, Hemanth, and your group, the team, for giving me this opportunity to talk to you all. And I'll stay around and I will be, watching you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, madam. You have put very beautifully how every single individual can take an action, and then that eventually contributes to the greater good of our planet. So one anecdote which I would want to mention. So these days, if we just touch the soil, we can feel the difference. Let's say we touch a vermicompost, it's so cool, so pleasant to hold. But if you go to a city like Bangalore, in the middle of the street, if you pick up the dust, we can tell the difference, how bad it is. So when I was a kid, whenever there used to be a wound, we used to take the soil and just put it on our wound. So that used to soothe our wound. But these days, I don't think we can do that. The soil is completely polluted with a lot of other toxins, especially in agriculture.
Right.
Okay. Thank you, madam. Thank you so much for taking your time. So with this, I would like to invite our next speaker, Mr. Raghu. Before that, there are a couple of announcements. Those of you who have not registered, there's a link in the chat window. Please use that link to register. Once that is done, after Mr. Raghu's discussion, the speech, then we will be moving on to the discussion. So this discussion will be happening in two languages, one in English and the other is in Kannada. So I would request all of you to leave that in the chat window so that we can understand how many number of people prefer Kannada and then how many people prefer in English. So with that, I would like to welcome Mr. Raghu. Just a quick introduction of Mr. Raghu. Mr. Raghu is a good friend of mine. I've known him from past 8 years. He's basically a mechanical engineer turned into an environmentalist. He has his own startup, which is focused on ensuring the organic produce reaches the consumer all the way from farmer till the consumer without any middleman profiting out of it. And he is also a big promoter for electric vehicles. So if you need to know anything about sustainability or any current generation tech, which is eco-friendly, Raghu is the guy to meet up with. With this, I would like to open the floor for Mr. Raghu.
Hi, Hemanth. Hi, Vani.
Hi.
It's a wonderful morning, and thanks for giving me an opportunity to share my thoughts here. And it's a great initiative, inviting youths to give a chance to put in a dialogue on climate actions and food system. So I would like to continue my sharing my thoughts or presentation. So So my screen is visible.
Yes.
Yeah.
Go to the full screen mode. That would be great.
Yeah, I'll do. Yeah. So it's visible, right? Screen is visible.
Yes, yes, it is.
Yeah. So I just want to give another overview of my current life and my current career. So I'm an entrepreneur and I work with natural materials. I promote sustainable products, and we operate. We work with various artisan clusters across India, making plastic alternative products and following a lot of traditional practices, and while we develop any of our products, and we also follow a lot of traditional and fair trade practices in our working culture. And so this is one of the image in my presentation. It shows a current food production system. If you see this, the bottommost one, like how the food delivery service, what is the supply chain or value chain of a food delivery services, from farm to transport to distribution to packaging to delivery and plate. So this whole supply chain generates a lot of carbon footprint, and that itself shows us like how much environmental impact negative environmental impact we are creating, or and other the bad ill effects of this we would never understand. But if we can see what is happening around the environment, like floods and unseasonal rains or no rains, so all of these is a result of our lifestyle practices, and just being very particular about food production system. So this chart, this infographic itself tells a lot about how we can be sustainable in our food consumption. So if we can switch from food delivery service to supermarket, again there is a huge environmental impact because of the kind of supply chain it involves in. And if you go to a farmer market, it is very minimal, it's moderate. Okay, it from farm to the local market and your food plate. And if you subscribe to a CSA, like CSA is community supported agriculture, where you directly source your produces, your food from farmers. So that way you support the farmers, as well as you get to communicate with your farmer, and you will understand what is that he's growing and what is that you're consuming. So buying it from the supermarket or any food delivery partners, you will never know where your food is coming from. So you can also have the footprint. Okay, it's not about just footprint, it's also about a footprint. You need to keep a track on like where your food is coming exactly from. So the CSA will help keep you track on your footprint. So this is the best way you can also communicate with your farmers, and you can also take care of them and they take care of your food, our food. So this way the CSA helps in building the farmer community from the individual perspective as well. And the shortest food chain is your home garden and your kitchen garden, where the Vani ma'am explained it so beautifully now. And she's been an inspiration for me as well to grow my own food and start my composting journey. So this is the most sustainable and resilient food system I could call like a home garden or a CSA. And Vani ma'am, I learned this CSA from Vani ma'am. She buys her all the food grains or vegetable from Navadarshanam, and that is one of the example for a CSA. Look for a local farmers. So like how you have a family doctor, we should also have a family farmer where you can subscribe to food grains and vegetables. So this is about the food production system I imagine, and this is from the waste head, and this infographic had lot to speak about, and this I've put in a very brief way. And my next slide is about food next door. So food next door is something which I started thinking about when I started growing food on the soil. So there were a lot of greens coming and medicinal herbs coming by itself when I started my garden. So the garden I started in the previous lockdown, where I got an opportunity to work in a empty land beside my house, and I was curious enough to understand what is growing in my soil, and what is coming, and trying to understand what are these, and what are the greens coming in. And most of those greens were edible, and they were medicinal and nutritious. So where you can incorporate or adopt these kind of greens in everyday food system. So what I call as a food next door is something where you can forage everyday food essential like greens, vegetables, fruits, edible weeds around your vicinity or your own terrace or kitchen garden. So this is the most sustainable and resilient way how we can build your own food chain. Also, you'll build a biodiversity around your house, and also it helps build a microclimatic conditions, and also helps fight climate change in your own scale. So if this is adopted from every individual, it actually is a good revolution in beating the climate change. And so this is about the food next door thing. And the food consumption pattern, I am just taking one of the example of a everyday staple that we consume mostly in South India, the rice. So we consume mostly a conventional rice in majority, where if you can switch that to a millet, it makes a huge environmental impact. Like, as millets are mostly grown in rain-fed areas and dry land, and it's a dry land crop, it doesn't need much of a agri inputs like pesticides, and also no much labor and very minimal water consumption to grow crop, like unlike conventional rice. So millets is one of the grain, like you will find various different millet grains, but I think we often consume ragi, which we call as a finger millet, or pearl millet like sajje, in form of roti or porridge. But we haven't come across the other 6 different variant of millets we can consume. So these were there in traditional earlier traditional food system, but it actually vanished a decade before, and again it is starting to evolve, and people are trying to adopt the millets into everyday food lifestyle. But it still has to we still have to incorporate in everyday life, and it has to go in big scale, so that we can also do a water conservation, because rice takes a lot of water to grow, and our conventional chemical farming practice consumes a lot of water, and it is grown like an aquatic plant. So there are many other cultivation methods, like a Sri method, which I've put in here. There are traditional rice varieties which are more resilient than conventional rice varieties, which are high in medicinal properties, which consumes minimal water if grown in Sri method cultivation. So if you can Google a Sri method, you'll get a lot of info about how with a minimal water, just keeping the soil moist, we can grow a good amount of rice, better than the conventional rice. And it doesn't need much of no pesticides. You can grow without organically. So these are the some of these ideas where I started my food consumption. I changed my food patterns from rice to millets, and we mostly we consume millets and traditional rice varieties. We don't consume any white looking rice. Our rice are in different colors. So, and also has a medicinal benefits consuming such kind of rices. And also when you consume traditional rice varieties, it also helps farmers to grow more and more of traditional rice varieties. And that way you can promote and change your food consumption patterns from conventional food chain to a traditional food chain. So this is about food consumption pattern. And this is about my terrace garden. It was completely clean, empty, nice in 2020. And now it is lush, green, beautiful in 2021 now. So this is my terrace garden. And this is my kitchen garden, which we started in an empty plot beside our house. Now it is, now we have a lot of more growing in, like traditional ginger varieties like a black ginger, black turmeric. I keep experimenting with different varieties of traditional species of herbs and other essentials. So this is my kitchen garden, and this is my terrace garden. There's all I've been inspired by many people like Vani ma'am. So that which helped me to understand about growing my own food and understand, giving a broad perspective about food system, and also kind of help farmers to connect directly to the consumers. So this way you can build a healthy community and a healthy food system. So that's about my presentation, and thank you, Hemanth, for giving me a this opportunity to share my thoughts.
Thank you so much, Raghu.
Yeah.
Wonderful to see the complete transformation within a year. I converted an empty plot into a beautiful garden.
Yeah.
Request anybody who is from Bangalore, who stays closer to Kengeri or any of that area, would request you to visit Raghu in his free time. So we'd be happy to walk around his garden.
Sure.
To Raghu.
Yeah.
Madam. We would start the breakout room in another couple of minutes. So basically in the breakout room, we have 2 action tracks. So one would be, the first action track would be shift to sustainable consumption patterns. And we have a couple of questions, and we would invite inputs from every single one of you. And the second action track is boost nature positive production. Again, we have a couple of questions under that. We'll ask those questions, and then you can provide your inputs, and we'll note it down. Again, we have 2 breakout rooms, one in English and one in Kannada. Whichever each one of you are comfortable, you can pick those rooms. So with this, I would like to hand over the session to Senashia to split us into 2 different rooms.
Sorry. Before we go into breakout rooms, I'm wondering if everyone is up for taking a picture. If you're comfortable enough.
I think that would be good.
Yeah?
Yeah, completely missed that. So request to turn on the camera for a brief moment so that we can see all your beautiful faces and capture all the beautiful smiles. We'll give you a minute to prepare yourself and turn on the cameras.
Give me 1 second.
It's okay. It's okay if you are outside or if you are not dressed up. It's fine. We don't judge you. We would be happy to see your face. Please turn on the camera for a brief 30-second.
Right. Okay. So if everyone is ready, I am going to take a few screenshots. Just keep smiling and
yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
So these days we have fancy cameras where we can click a picture in an instant. In the previous years, we used to wait and smile for at least for a minute for the picture to formalize on the film. So thanks for the technology. Okay, with this, Senashi, I think we can take a couple of more. People have just turned on the cameras, if you can. Yeah, great. Once that is done, we can be transferred to one of the groups.
Yes. And to those who haven't actually dropped in your preference for the group, just say E or K and we'll be happy to add you to the group. And for those joining us on Facebook, just to let you know, we will be stopping the stream as Facebook doesn't, unfortunately, they don't allow breakout rooms. So if you're joining us from Facebook, drop a comment in the video and we'll be happy to send you the link to this call as well. So yeah, So with that, we will open the rooms now and wish you all the very best for your discussions. Thank you.
Thank you.